Hello, everyone. X-Wall Kill Bethelite here. And how long can someone pee on your head and call it lemonade? Some things can just get so ridiculous that a person can hardly be said to be a victim anymore. With regards to Jehovah's Witnesses, there's people that'll say, oh, they're victims, oh, they were lied to, right? But if a person pulls down their pants, pulls out their penis, urinates on your head, and says it's okay, that's lemonade, your eyes should tell you something's wrong. Lemonade comes from a jug or a cup or maybe a squeezed lemon. Lemonade does not come from a penis. If you see it and you sit there and let this person pee on your head, you can't say, oh, I was victimized. I had no idea. This person told me lemonade came from penises and I believed it. That's the exact same thing going on with Jehovah's Witnesses. Have they been lied to? Yes, but the lie is exposed right in front of their eyes. All Jehovah's Witnesses have to do is just look at the governing body with their penises out, peeing on their heads, calling it lemonade. It's right in front of their faces, right? This is where we get into the whole Jehovah's Witnesses are just stupid discussion. This is where that discussion comes from. It comes from once there is so much evidence and it's so blatant that you can't say they're being tricked anymore, right? Because so you have the doctrines, right? You've got doctrines from the past that have been incorrect, such as Beth Serene. You could look that up and see that was false. Such as the end of the world coming in 1975, the good old stay alive till 75. You can see that was false. Then you had the book, Millions Now Living Will Never Die. Well, back when that book was printed, all these people reading this book thinking they're going to live forever are dead, right? So you could say, oh, well, yeah, those are all blatant, obvious falsehoods, but they were so long ago that it could still not be enough to persuade a person today that's in that organization that it's false. Okay, but you had falsehoods that were recent, such as the generation of 1914 that won't pass away. Well, this generation of 1914 won't pass away before Armageddon comes. And you have people like myself sitting around thinking, yeah, the end of the world, this Armageddon Jehovah's Witnesses keep talking about, is close because the generation of 1914, they're getting old, right? And then that falls through and then they just make something up. Oh, well, it just overlaps, right? No, they were wrong again. The doctrine has been so wrong so often that, I mean, you'd have to literally close your eyes and there's no way anybody that listened to Jehovah's Witnesses and Watchtower telling them that college is not something that you want to really pursue. You know, you're worried. Don't worry about college. Focus on passing out our Watchtower magazines for the company, right? Get those prescriptions, or I'm sorry, the subscriptions up for Watchtower. Don't go to college. Well, now a lot of the jobs are technical, right? and you need something to be competitive out in the workforce. Now it's blatantly obvious that that's where things are going. Things are going technical. You're probably going to need something outside of high school, right? So Watchtower was wrong about that. See? So you go from the teachings being blatantly obviously wrong to a lot of people, such as, let's say, your parents, right? Let's say your parents have been in that organization for a long time. Well, most likely, not only have they seen with their own eyes these teachings come up false, right? And everything change, and the preaching work pretty much stopped because of COVID, and they just start writing letters. And they also see all their fellow friends, their buddies, the people that they played cards with, the people that they called their friends, they're watching them die. Literally, you have people who are in their 60s and 70s now, and they were told the end of the world was around the corner way back when they were 30. Well, they're about 60 and 70 now, and all their friends who were told the same thing that they were, Armageddon was right around the corner 30 years ago, they're burying them. They're sitting, you cannot ignore that. They're sitting in a kingdom hall at the funeral looking at this person's lifeless corpse in a box. Now, they done gave plenty of money to Watchtower. They done gave plenty of time and passed out magazines for Watchtower. And all that end of the world around the corner stuff wasn't around the corner for them. They're dead. So your parents are burying their friends, maybe even family, and they're next. They're about to die. And they're watching their kids grow up. Not the kids grow up. The kids are grown now. The kids. See, your parents, who wasn't even supposed to make it out of high school before Armageddon, you got kids and they're growing up now. This is not something that you can just ignore and say, oh, I just didn't know my kids are having kids and they're growing up. And Watchtower told me 40 years ago the end of the world was around the corner. You can't ignore that, right? This is blatantly obvious, right? It's not just the teachings. It's not just the blatant obvious fact that all these people are just listening to this Armageddon spiel until they die. But it's also the conduct. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but the conduct alone should be enough to also wake people up, right? Because say elders are supposedly appointed by Holy Spirit, right? Like God directly picks these people out to become elders and lead Jehovah's Witness congregations, right? And this is supposed to be the only one God's focusing on, right? So if he's only focusing on one group of people, you think he could put a team of elders together, right? And I remember in our hall, we had an elder who was obviously gay. Obviously, blatantly, like he is flamboyantly gay to where you can't deny that this person was gay. And he's an elder. He hadn't gotten, he had gotten in trouble for having sex with somebody or attempting to have sex with somebody in a park. The cops caught him. And from what I've heard, There were people that grew up with him. They knew him. They knew he was gay before he became an elder, right? Because they grew up with him in high school where he was behind the bleachers boinking other boys in the behind, right? They knew he was gay. This person is gay. Now, according to Jehovah's Witness doctrine, you're not even supposed to be a ministerial servant, let alone an elder, if that's the case. I don't have a problem with people should be able to do what they want to do. It's their thing, do what they want to do. But as far as Watchtower is concerned, we had an elder in our hall that was blatantly gay. And his whole thing was, well, I'm going to groom young men, right? And from what I hear, hopefully I'll be able to do an interview and, get the full experience of what happened. But from what I hear, this elder was having sex with another man in the congregation when he was younger. Let's say the elder was having sex with a very young person, but wasn't illegal, right? It wasn't under 18 because the person got in trouble and the elder is saying, well, we won't disfellowship you or I won't disfellowship you if you let me groom you, and groom turned into having sex with this person. That should be enough to wake you up. As soon as the elder says, if you allow me to do these sexual things with you, or he tries it, and the understanding is, as long as we're doing this, I won't allow you to get disfellowship. This information won't go to the rest of the elders and nothing will happen to you as long as we have sex. Well, that alone should have woke the person up. How can you still be asleep when you're getting boinked in your behind? And from my understanding, this person wasn't gay. The elder was gay, and he was taking advantage of other people in the Kingdom Hall. But the person that was getting boinked in the behind by the elder was not gay, but succumbed to the pressure. He was like weak, just succumbed to the pressure. The guy came on to him, and it happened. From my understanding, and this is something I've heard from a pretty reliable source, this should be enough to wake you up, right? You have some people who don't follow Watchtower rules. They're in the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses, but they don't even follow all the rules because they know some of them are wrong, right? You have some parents that ain't going to let you go over other Jehovah's Witnesses' houses because they know what goes on in some of these households when people let their kids go over there, right? They know inappropriate things go on, right? You got some people that did go to college, even though Watchtower said that that's not something you should do because the system, the end of the world would come so soon, you wouldn't have time to finish your degree anyway or use it, right? It would be a waste of time. There's people that just flat out don't even listen to Watchtower and go to school anyway, right? The shunning. There's some people that don't listen to Watchtower, right? There's some people that they're not shunning their kids. Watchtower's telling them to do it, but they're not shunning their kids, right? There's some people that they're aware that some of this is BS. So how can you be aware that there's certain things that's just BS? I'm not going to not go to school, right? I'm not going to just not talk to my own kids, right? I'm not going to let Watchtower decide my medical treatments. And some of the teachings have flat out fallen flat, right? And some of the conduct, because a lot of these elders have got skeletons in the closet that a lot of people in the congregation are aware of. It's not like nobody knows about it. So these people know about the conduct of the elders. You got homosexual elders having sex with people. Hey, we won't disfellowship you if you do this for us. And then you have people who know some of the things are BS, like I'm not shunning my kid. And you have all these false teachings. How much does it take? Does a person literally have to pull their pants down, pull out their penis, pee on your head, and tell you it's lemonade before you figure out that they're lying? Like, what else needs to happen? Indoctrination only covers so much, right? As long as in your mind and from your understanding, everything you're being told seems to be correct, you can be indoctrinated. Why do you think that Watchtower doesn't want their members to talk to former members that have left? They call them apostates, don't listen to them, so on and so forth, right? Because they don't want their membership to gain information that could help them wake up. Well, if it's true what some people say, Jehovah's Witnesses that are still in despite everything that we see, they're not just stupid. They're just tricked and indoctrinated. Well, if indoctrination was foolproof and there was nothing that could wake a person up, then why does Watchtower not want us to speak to their membership? Watchtower wouldn't care. If it was true that it's not intellect, it's not that this person is psychologically so extremely weak that they see it, but they're just hiding from it. If none of these things are true, and indoctrination was something that just victimized the person to the point where nothing would wake them up, then Watchtower would not tell us not to speak, not tell its members not to speak to us, not tell its members not to read older Watchtower articles and magazines back when they were getting everything wrong. Right? They wouldn't tell its members not to go online and look at quote unquote apostate websites. Right? They don't want people to wake up is the reason why they don't want people to read it. Right? Watchtower is aware. Everybody should be aware. An indoctrination, a lie, or a lie that a person has been conditioned and groomed to believe, is only as strong as the evidence in front of this person. If the evidence too overwhelmingly and too strongly disproves this lie, then a person is going to wake up, and then the person is going to have a choice to make. Am I going to just hide? Because to hide, you got to do that purposefully, right? You got people that are either intellectually just so dumb, anything would trick them. Yeah, you have some of those. Or you have people who have, by choice, decided to hide from the truth because it's just so unpleasant. And there are some people that they don't like conflict. They don't like things that are unpleasant. They'll just hide from it. Right? They know in the back of their head, man, it's a good chance this stuff is all false. But they're just going to try to pretend. That's a choice. That's not being a victim. That is a choice to decide to hide from the truth. There's only so many categories a person can fall into. Right? The stupid category, where they're just intellectually, all these things, the proof Watchtower is false, all the stuff we just talked about, doctrine, conduct, basic evidence right in front of you. But they're not deep. They're the whole butter done slipped off its biscuit thing. Like, they're just gone. There's people that are like that just, they wouldn't be able to figure out. I'm telling you, there ain't a scam that would not work on them. There are a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses like that. I know them personally. There is no such thing as a scam that would not work on this person because they're just slow. There's a lot of them like that. And then you have the people that by choice have decided, I'm going to hide from what is obviously, blatantly right in front of me because it might be uncomfortable for me to acknowledge it and make changes, and I don't want to do all that. So I just want to stay where I'm comfortable and just hide. Now, that's a choice. That's not a victim. Right? So a person can be stupid and be a victim, but yeah, they're stupid. They'd be a victim to anything. And that's what I'm trying to say. There are a lot of them like that are just stupid. And yeah, you could say they're a victim, but it's just because their elevator don't go all the way up to the top floor. And they would be a victim to anybody. Anything. I'm telling you, I've had people that I called because there were scams going on, and I'm warning them, and not 10 minutes after I warn them, they done let these people in their house. Personal experience. Yes, there's just people where stuff would work on them regardless. Yeah, they're easy. They're not just victims. They're easy victims because they're not smart. Then you got the people that hide, and that's not being a victim. That's a choice, right? To just sit there and let somebody pee on your head and call it lemonade, right? That's a choice to allow the governing body to do that to them. And then growing up, my stepdad was an elder. And I recall as a young kid growing up, I saw him. It was always something inappropriate with other women, right? It was the pursuit of other women. I think he had gotten in trouble, probably reproved, something like that. I don't know because I was a kid when a lot of this was happening. But my recollection was there were always other women, right? I've got a lot of women in my family. So it was always him and one of my cousins, right? As far as him going over their house when there was nobody there, his wife wasn't there, it was just the two of them. And as a kid, I could see some of the stuff that was going on wasn't right. As a kid, I could look and see, why is my stepdad standing there right next to my aunt or something to that effect, and they're just, the two of them are together, and it just looks really odd. It wasn't just one, it was multiple people in the family, right? There's people in my family that don't like him, possibly because of some of that, pursuing other people in the family while you're married. You have got to be pretty bold to pursue your wife's family. There's people that cheat. Yeah, cheating is wrong, right? However you want to look at it, cheating is wrong. But you have got to be bold and brazen to be married to somebody. And I'm not going to just kind of flirtatiously pursue one person in your family. I'm going to pursue multiple people. To the point where I remember as a kid being in the van with my mother. And my mother, I'm guessing, I'm a kid, so I didn't know for sure, I'm guessing, was kind of scoping out the scene to see what my stepdad was doing, her husband was doing, because of all this flirting. I mean, it was going on in the halls. It was going on with people in our family. And I remember, yeah, we pulled up in a van, and sure enough, he's sitting in a car. My stepdad, who's a current elder right now, was sitting in a car next to either one of my cousins or my aunt. The two of them alone, by themselves. My mom was so mad, she slammed on the gas, and we flew off. Like, she was so livid. You got to understand, one of the reasons why pedophilia is so bad amongst Jehovah's Witnesses is because of what I told you about. A lot of them are slow, right? And a person goes into this religion with the concept, understanding, these people are slower. I can get away with a lot. I'm going to pursue people in my wife's family. Like, I'm going to do it in the open because this religion, people are so dumb. Hell, they'll appoint me an elder while I'm doing all this. Like, and it happens. So what else do you need to know? As soon as this person was appointed an elder, half my family should have left. They should have, half of them left. So the guy that was pursuing multiple people in my family, and not to mention all the days I come back from playing in the backyard as a kid, and there was a sister, a woman, alone without her husband in our house, sitting at the table with my, this is after he was an elder, and then that's where you got all these other women from the hall still, you know, doing things that are not appropriate. So I come back inside from playing in the backyard. I had a basketball hoop in the backyard, and I'm back there playing, and I came back inside, and there was a sister from our hall. She's married, sitting at the table. My stepdad was married. He's sitting at the table. Neither of them had their mate there, right? There was no other elder there, right? Supposed to be another guy, supposed to be somebody else there. You're not just supposed to be meeting up with women one-on-one in your house. And when I walked in, there was this glare. There was this look where it was like, I'm looking at this ice cream sundae. You had to see it to believe it. My stepdad was looking at this woman like we about to do it on this table when I walked in there. And I look, and then they kind of look at me, which now everything's awkward. And then I go to my room. This alone should wake people up. You got the doctrine. You got the conduct, all the pedophiles running loose because these people are dumb and it's easy to get to their kids. Point blank and period. Or they're covering their eyes so as not to see the truth, and it's too easy to get to their kids. Either way. And you have people who are appointed in positions in the congregation that blatantly obviously shouldn't have been. The elder who was gay, having sex with people in the halls so as not to disfellowship them. And my stepdad, who apparently there was something going on with other women. All the time, there was always other women. And he's appointed elder anyway. Like, come on now. It's obvious. It's whoever wins the popularity contest gets appointed. So, at some point, you can no longer say, oh, this is we're blinded, we're victims, and we're I can't even think of the word. But at some point, it's a choice or it's stupidity. It's one or the other. It's a choice or stupidity or crazy, right? Because you have people who are really, really, really smart, but are just off their rocker. Like they could do a huge math equation, but they don't have enough common sense to be trusted outside alone. Like you got people who are just crazy. And I think you got a lot of that. You just have a lot of mental illness, right? If you're to the point where you can't even take reality, that's a mental illness. So comment down below. Let me know what you think. X-Wall Kill Bethelite signing out.